Wondered what goes into making a successful podcast? How do those pros do it? What are their secrets? Welcome to Pod Talk Today, a podcast about podcasting with the podcasters you love. I'm your host, Kim Hayden. All righty. Welcome. I am super excited today. I have to tell you, I have a little bit of I think a little bit of a stalker tendency in me with our next guest. I love watching our next guest and her travels around the world and the people she's hobnobbing with. And I learn from her every single time we engage. So let's bring in the most amazing Shar Moore. How are you
Hello,
doing?
Kim. I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. You're down in Southern California, and I'm sitting in a snowdrift. So I am again going to be stalking you later. So I want to see you out on a beach, please. I'm living through you, living through you.
Will
So,
do.
so you are not a travel agent, is that correct? You
Oh
just
gosh,
travel everywhere. So you know
no.
what, Sharp? You could introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what do you do for a living?
Pleasure, and thank you for having me on as well. Look, who I am, what I do. I guess if you could summarize what I do, I look for great human beings in the world creating an impact, and I help them shine and raise their profile through one of our media products. So we have a TV talk show called The Girlfriend Hour. We're producing a gorgeous coffee table book with some of the best exceptional human beings on the planet called That Impact Book. We have our own podcast show, obviously, and we also have magazines. So we really look for great people doing great things, because if you're a best kept secret, you're serving no one. And visibility is actually it's actually our responsibility to become visible.
I love that. It's our responsibility to become visible. There's a lot of people out there that are looking for leadership and leadership that they feel is possibly attainable, right?
Mm.
We see quote unquote leadership from people who are very well to do or you know come from lots of money and they need that leadership. So why not you if you're stepping up to the plate? And that's the beauty of all these spaces of being visible and being omnipresent. But I want to talk about your podcast. And in your podcast, first, what got you started? And, do you have, $10,000 a month coming in on ad sponsors, or what is the ROI? Because a lot of people are going, but what is the ROI to a
Mm.
podcast? But I'd love for you to share what your podcast is, who it serves, what they get from it, and what is your ROI on this?
I love that. Okay, so our podcast show is called Impact 1 Million, and that links to our goal of impacting 1 million lives, as it says, which links in with our book and a documentary that we're filming at the moment. Who we look for on our show are people that are changing other people's lives, right? So their product or service has been designed in a way that's going to change a life, be it a physical product like a bricks and mortar company or a online product or service, but it's something that they sat there as an entrepreneur and said, I'm really good at this and I'm going to create it so that I can change a life. And that's ultimately how we're going to get our goal of impacting 1 million lives. Now, this is my third or fourth podcast show over, I don't know, 10 years or something. This particular show's ROI is a little bit different. So at the moment, when you talk about direct, which I've done before, getting an ROI, getting it to create an income, this particular show has a different ROI outcome. So for us, our ROI for this show is we look for entrepreneurs that have created a global impact already. Okay. And so some of our guests are probably still on the journey. Majority of our guests have already created significant impact. The reason, like, I'm interviewing a billionaire on my show tomorrow. And so, why we do that, Kim, is that if we can showcase people on my show and deep dive into those 2 a.m. moments, the mindset that they use to create their significant life, their business, their billion-dollar business, like this guy tomorrow, that allows our listeners to receive the impact, receive the learnings, receive the mindset, and hopefully go out there and say, wow, here I thought that everyone successful had this beautiful straight path and never had anything go wrong. And by debunking that and just saying, actually saying our audience, our guests are amazing at sharing, 2 years ago I was nearly broke, or this happened and I went bankrupt and I was back in my mother's basement, or I didn't know rock bottom had another basement, right? Because by them sharing that, and every one of us realizing, well, hang on, they're human, they've been through this, I'm no different, all they did was have a really strong purpose and why, well, maybe I could do it too. And then we've impacted a life with our show. So for me, that's an ROI. When I get a message from someone, when I get someone reaching out on social media and saying, this is what I learned from your show, thank you, there's my ROI. So for me, in this particular instance, an ROI isn't the monetization of the show. And maybe, we need to do that at some point. But at the moment, for me, it's about impacting a life, and helping them realize that we have one, create an impact, and absolutely work towards leaving a legacy.
In a very noisy world, which I just heard noise outside my door, should have shut my door better. In a very noisy world, I think a podcast, part of that kind of ROI also comes from a credibility and notability, because that's a great way for people to be able to find you, see you, is that you're visible, like you were talking earlier about visibility. Tell me about that 2 a.m. moment. I heard that comment, and I'd love to know, what is a 2 a.m. moment?
A 2 a.m. moment is where you get a tap on the shoulder, a tap from whatever you believe in, right? The universe, God, the bald headed canary in the Bahamas, like my funny dad used to say. It doesn't matter. But whatever voice you listen to, that someone is channeling through you and giving you messages, they typically wake you up in the stillness of the night. And so for me, it's always between that 2 and 5 a.m. when the world spins the slowest. It's still, it's quiet. That's where we get our true messages from, the voice. And it's woken me up so many times in my life, and at the moment I'm so focused on manifesting an endorsement from the one and only Oprah. And since we've been on this trip, which I'll share if we get time, that we've been away from home nearly 6 months now, and living out of a suitcase. I'm so over my wardrobe, by the way. Side note, digressing. But it's those moments, and I'm woken up at 2 in the morning, and I literally just it's like I get jolted out of bed, and I get this message around something I need to do, someone I need to talk to. I need to attend a conference, and I've kind of left my schedule. It's funny. A lot of people said before I left, "Oh, have you got it all planned out week by week, day by day?" I'm like, no. Well, do you know where you're going? Yes. No, I don't know where I'm going next. I'm being guided. And even when I walk into a room at a conference, those 2 a.m. moments will say, literally, go talk to a lady with blonde hair. I'm like, okay. And so off I go. And then when I have that conversation, I'm reminded later, like, oh my goodness, I was told, and you are that woman, and this is why I was meant to meet you. And this is what, like, we have, Kim, we've given our power of control of our own mind and our voice away to others. And this 2 a.m. moment, this 2 a.m. voice is guiding us. It's our intuition, our higher self, God, whoever, guiding us back to self. We need to just go back to self and trust. We have all of our own answers. We're making life far too difficult because we're listening to this person and that person. If you go to the stillness of 2 a.m., hand on heart, and listen to what you need, everything is there waiting for you.
I would agree. And it's really important to be present. Really important to be present, because if you're not present within your own space, your own mind, your own time, it's you don't get those wake up calls. You don't get that courage to go and speak to somebody. So I do want to take a moment, and I want to go back to your very first one. Now, everybody needs to be aware. Shar is a marketing genius when it comes to understanding and seeing trends and opportunities and being able to put people in the right light. If you need somebody to put a cape on your shoulders, this is the woman that can do it. But back when podcasting very first was kind of starting to trend up, what was something that you wish you had known when you started that first podcast? Oh, I just saw that look.
Oh my goodness. I don't even, you know what? I've blocked out the name of my first podcast show. It was so bad, but it did really well, but it was so bad. What I wish I had known back then is, oh my goodness, I wish I had just been really real. Like as if I was sitting like I am with you now. Like just, I feel like I'm just sitting having a coffee, even though we're in two different locations. I just wish I'd been me. I was trying to be, you research so many shows and you try and emulate a bit of this person and a bit of that person, and you front up and go, well, I saw so and so do it this way and I saw so and so do it that way, and I'm just going to bundle all those people in my head. And I overthought it, I overfelt it, I wasn't myself because I was trying to be nine different personalities. And it did well, but it didn't land, I don't feel. And so I don't know how long I ran it for. I can't even remember. And the show name was wrong. It was just all wrong. And I think this is the message for everything now in my life as well, is everything I do now, people may be new to my world, and that's okay. When they look at everything I'm doing now and go, oh, it's all right for her. It's like she's just taken off on this rocket ship, and all of a sudden, as you say, I'm omnipresent. I'm everywhere. It didn't start this way. I've been in business 20 years, right? I've done the broke to BMW. I've eaten the rice and pasta and baked potatoes, and we've done it. And I feel like the moment I actually dropped into self, Kim, and stopped being part of this fake book community, and I just went, you know what? I'm going to be Shar and the damn best version of me. And if you don't like me, it's only because you don't know me. And I have the power with social media to delete and block. And I do that often. If someone doesn't agree with my viewpoint, it doesn't make them wrong or me wrong, but they shouldn't comment and say, if you have a different opinion to me and you can't see the vision I have of the world, that's your issue, not mine. It doesn't mean that I'm going to change my goals. And I think so many of us will get a few knocks. I get bullied. I get, who do you think you are? I get this coffee table book. No one's ever going to buy into it. It's not going to sell. I get all of this all the time. Oh, they've been done. No one's done it my way before because no one's me. No one has my backstory. No one has my flavor. No one has my tenacity or audacity. No one would leave home, their family, their children to travel the world living out of, like, so how could the book that they produce be the same as mine, right? So everything you're doing out there, if you're doing it truly with your essence, I call it the Shar essence, how could you copy this? How could I copy you, Kim? You do it with Kimness. I do it with Sharness. There's no way to replace that. So my first show, I wish I'd just been me, and I can't change that. And you learn and grow, and you have to start horrible. If you haven't created something that you now want to vomit a little bit about, you're not pushing the boundaries. If you're playing safe
Yep.
and you're putting stuff out there and you go, oh, I'm really happy with that, you are not playing the game that you need to play. I look at some previous memes and shows and interviews, and I'm like, oh, I want to be sick. Kill me now. That's good. That means
Yep.
that I'm growing and learning.
They say that it's you get to pick 2 of 3 when you're in business. You can be fast, so you get to pick speed. You get to pick speed, change, comfort. You get to pick 2 of those. You cannot have all 3. So if you're moving fast to build something new, you do not get to be comfortable. Comfort comes either when you stay in at a level, or when you have done years of speed and change, and now you have the systems in place. So you can move fast with comfort, right? So I find that I have to ask a question, totally off the
Mm.
mark here. You've been on the road for 6 months. Who's doing your hair?
Oh my
I
goodness,
would I would
that is
be
such a
freaking
question
out.
I would ask. Yeah, that's such a question I would ask. And look, it's been really difficult. Let's be honest, really here. I have found it really hard. I have such thick hair, and finding someone who can do it in a way, especially color, I'm really picky. So the other day, I was going to an event in Dallas, and I'm like, you get so busy in work. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm covered in grays, and because I'm so dark, they just shine like the brightest light. So I actually went to the supermarket and bought a box color and popped it on myself because I couldn't find a hairdresser in time. And so I actually did this one myself. But I have been lucky whenever I go somewhere, it's a very girly thing to do. So I'll land in a new place and I literally will go to an event and say to people that have got the best hair in the room, can you give me your hairdresser's details? I'm here for a week and I desperately need a color. So women are lovely like that, are like, sure, we always pass that on. But I think it's really important when you're being this visible and you're expecting people to live their best life and step up and play out their comfort zone and create impact. You need to show up as your best self. And
Yeah.
I think every time I show up, even on phone calls, sales calls, podcasts, it doesn't matter that I'm sitting here in a motel room. Uh, I'm showing up as if I was on a stage in front of 100,000 because one day I will be. And I show up and speak because who knows who could hear this. My goal is always to show up and impact one life, even if the auditorium has 100,000. So I believe you should always show up
Yeah.
looking at your best. So I'm always dolled up. What I've got going on downstairs, I've got thongs on, let's be honest. I've got a pair of shorts, but from the what you can see, right, I'm stage ready.
Absolutely. News desk ready. That's my
Yes,
favorite thing that has come out of COVID.
pandemic, I know, right?
My favorite thing that has come out of COVID. So
I
speaking
haven't done the pajamas ever because I still think that you present a different way if you're wearing pajamas. I haven't gone that far, but it's okay if you can get away with it and do it.
if you can get away with, I think there was a movie done during the pandemic, and I think Anne Hathaway was in it, and it's out of London, and she was the manager of a historical London store, and she would show up for all of these Zoom calls and her pajamas, silk pajamas, but she'd put a jacket over and put her hair up in a bun, and she was
Oh,
ready to roll. And it's like, okay,
love it.
okay, yeah, you rock that,
Yeah.
Anne, you rock it. Um, Speaking of favorite things, so we tend to, as we move and progress through platforms like podcasting, we tend to accumulate things that we love to use, different tools, tips, strategies, um, post products during the podcast. Is there a favorite mic? What are some of the things that you love? Because you're doing your podcast on the road too, aren't you? So you haven't stopped podcasting. What's in your travel bag?
Yeah, so I haven't got it out because my show's tomorrow and we just got in last night. But we use a little Rode microphone set. So we have got the little fluffy thing that goes on. So which I'm doing in New York, actually, I might be doing it next week in San Diego and using them because I'm going to a guy's factory, and having him on my show, and so I probably use it there. Just cuts out the wind. But they're the little travel ones, and basically all influencers use them because they're out and about and they want to make sure there's no wind and something. But it's tiny, and I can just clip it on as a lapel, and off I go. And so then I've got this little light that sits beside me, and different shades of cream. The room I'm in that we just checked in is actually quite dark, but I'm bright, right? So I've sorted that out. And so then there's other rooms I've been in that are really too bright, so I can adjust this light up and down. So I think we just need to eliminate the excuses. There is absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
My first podcast show, I'll share with you all. I didn't have any of the tech and I didn't have the funds to buy it, but I knew I wanted a show. So I actually went into my cupboard and sat my iPhone upside down in a cup and used the microphone of my phone and did my show. Back then it was just voice, not camera, and it was amazing. The sound was great. So I think we just need to eliminate all the reasons why we haven't done one and just do one.
Yep, exactly. And remember, folks, you can do limited series, and that limited series can become your own personal book. And then you can become a pod tour expert by promoting your limited series and your book based on your expertise. Only thing that's stopping you, like Shar said, is you. It's the only
Mhm.
thing that's stopping you. Sure. Give us a full rundown. Where can people find you, follow you, subscribe? Are you looking for anybody particularly right now that would align within the different programs you're setting up? So I know that you've got lots of different things on the go. And I know that there's a full kind of audition and vetting process. But I apologize. There goes my dog. There goes my dog. There
That's
must be a
okay. That's in real life, right?
Yep,
That's
there's must
fun.
be a
And
coyote in the backyard. So,
oh wow.
yeah, so
Okay.
give us a shot as to where we can find you, how we can engage, what's best, and if there's somebody or something that you're looking for specifically, how can we support you?
Thank you for asking. So, at the moment, our goal is we're producing a hardcover coffee table book, and it's called thatimpactbook.com. So, you can visit the website, check it out. There's a video from me there, there's an application to apply, and it's not a click and buy product. It's a product and opportunity just for a select few entrepreneurs around the world who know that being visible is their responsibility. They have a product or service that actually helps and changes lives, and they're tired of being a best kept secret. They want to be known around the world. They want to stand on stages. They want proximity to greatness. We just amazing event that happened. If you check out my Instagram, you'll see a video of me asking Gabby Bernstein, New York Times bestseller, an amazing woman, at the weekend, how do I get someone like you endorsing my book? And in a room of 500, she literally said, "You just did, and I'll endorse it." So we've got her as an endorsement. So tying your name up with someone like that is one of the best, fastest ways to grow your brand profile and your brand name, right? It's power of association. And so it's a really great opportunity for business owners who understand what I just said. And not everyone does, which means you're not ready, and that's okay, because I didn't until a few years ago. But those that get what I just said, you'll be in my inbox DMing me any second now, because you'll get it. So we know this book's going to fill up pretty quickly now. We start production, we launch in September 2024 next year in New York. And we've got a book signing tour as well. That's probably the main thing. We're filming a documentary as well, because I believe to change the world, we need to ask better questions. And so there'll be a documentary going along with this as well.
I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited to watch all that you do and the lives that you're going to change along the way. Um, on a final note, I have to ask, what was it like having your magazine Feminescence in the Oscars? Because you had them as part of a gift bag or something like that. Like, what was that
Right, yeah.
like knowing, right? Share with
It
me.
was amazing. So we were in the Hollywood swag bags, not the official Oscars ones. That would have been cool too. But we're actually in the Hollywood swag bags, which was, I believe, more amazing potentially, because they actually got delivered to the celebrities' homes. And they only accept one magazine every year. We did it for a number of years with two of our magazines, and uh, they loved the production of our magazine and the great people we were showcasing. That's why they accepted us. It meant so much to our clients, right? Again, being able to say that, Adele or Oprah or, any of those amazing people that we all follow potentially could have been sitting down the next day after, maybe with a hangover, but reading our magazine, it was such a big deal for our clients to know that that could have been happening. And it comes back to proximity to greatness, right? Because when you put yourself out there for the world to see, that's when you start to impact lives. But more importantly, Kim, that's where you start to leave a legacy. And that's what we're here for.
I have nothing to add. That was a perfect close. That's where we start to leave the legacy. That is awesome. Thank you, Shar, so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Kim. What an honor.
All righty. Until next time, folks, check out podtalktoday.com.